In response to the growing international discussion surrounding the alleged United Kingdom arrest warrant for economic freedom fighters, EFF, leader Julius Malema, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has finally addressed the matter publicly. Breaking his silence, Ramaphosa commented not only on the controversy itself but also on the passionate defense of Malema expressed by Burkina Faso's president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Speaking at the close of a Southern African Development Community (SADC) executive session held in Pretoria, Ramaphosa urged restraint amid increasing geopolitical tensions. He warned against what he termed escalating rhetorical nationalism, emphasizing the necessity of careful diplomacy and precise adherence to legal standards rather than impulsive, emotionally driven reactions. While we recognize and respect the right of every African nation to express solidarity with one another, Ramaphosa stated, South Africa remains a constitutional democracy guided by law, facts, and due process, not by speculative documents or social media outrage. His comments came shortly after Captain Ibrahim Traoré made a fiery declaration pledging unwavering support for Malema. Over the weekend, Traoré went as far as offering diplomatic asylum to the South African politician if the UK were to pursue arrest measures over Malema's outspoken criticism of colonialism and the British monarchy. Traoré characterized the rumored warrant as part of a neo-colonial information war, accusing Western powers of targeting African revolutionaries who dared to challenge imperial influence. His statement spread rapidly across social media platforms, igniting a surge of Pan-African sentiment. Activists and commentators alike applauded Traoré's boldness in confronting Western interference in African affairs. Ramaphosa, however, urged caution and distinction between political posturing and verifiable international legal procedures. Until British authorities officially confirm the existence of any such arrest warrant, which, to my knowledge, they have not, it is premature and unhelpful to make sweeping accusations or diplomatic ultimatums, he said firmly. When pressed on Malema's rights as a South African citizen and public figure, Ramaphosa responded carefully, Mr. Malema, like every citizen of this republic, is protected by our constitution. Should any credible attempt by a foreign government be made to act unlawfully against him, our institutions would respond appropriately. But South Africa cannot be drawn into a proxy conflict based on unsubstantiated reports. The president also issued a subtle critique of Malema's frequent anti-establishment rhetoric. Freedom of speech is vital, Ramaphosa noted, but so is responsibility in leadership. When prominent figures speak on international platforms, they represent not only their personal views but also the image of South Africa. We must avoid unnecessary provocations that lead to no productive outcome. His remarks appeared carefully crafted to strike a balance between constitutional duty and the expectations of South Africa's increasingly youth-led political movements, many of which resonate with the confrontational style of politics that Malema embodies. The contrast between Ramaphosa's measured, state-centered diplomacy and Traoré's revolutionary Pan-Africanism highlights a broader divide in leadership approaches across the continent. While Traoré advocates for a youth-driven anti-imperialist resurgence, Ramaphosa remains grounded in constitutionalism and multilateral diplomacy. His delayed response to the controversy had already drawn criticism from radical political factions and youth groups within South Africa, including the EFF itself. Earlier in the week, the EFF accused Ramaphosa of complicity through silence, arguing that he could not hide behind bureaucratic processes while Julius Malema faced what they described as attacks by imperial forces. The party even hinted at the potential for public demonstrations if the government failed to defend Malema from what they claim is a coordinated international campaign aimed at silencing African voices of dissent. With his latest public comments, Ramaphosa appears to be walking a delicate line, asserting South Africa's sovereignty while maintaining essential diplomatic relationships with global powers such as the United Kingdom. To date, neither the British Home Office nor the Foreign Office has issued any official statement confirming or denying the existence of an arrest warrant for Malema. The EFF maintains that the alleged document is entirely fabricated and part of a politically motivated smear effort intended to undermine Malema's growing international influence. Meanwhile, several legal experts in South Africa have questioned the plausibility of such a warrant. They note that for the UK to issue and enforce an international arrest warrant related to speech-based offences would pose significant legal and diplomatic challenges, especially considering Malema's status as an elected political leader. Despite the absence of any formal confirmation from British authorities, the controversy has already generated considerable diplomatic ripples throughout the region. Political commentators, regional leaders, and international observers are closely monitoring how South Africa will handle the situation. Some analysts suggest that this episode could test the boundaries of South Africa's foreign policy doctrine, particularly as it seeks to uphold both Pan-African solidarity and favorable relations with Western allies. In concluding his remarks, President Ramaphosa reaffirmed his commitment to African unity, but insisted that such unity must be anchored in truth rather than emotion. Africa must remain united, he declared, but our unity must be principled. We must not be baited into reactionary politics by viral misinformation. Let us protect our people, our leaders, and our credibility, not by shouting the loudest, but by standing firmly on the side of truth and justice. With these words, President Cyril Ramaphosa officially entered the public conversation surrounding the Julius Malema arrest warrant saga. While he refrained from directly criticizing President Traoré, his message was clear: South Africa will not be drawn into emotionally charged diplomacy or misinformation campaigns. His tone was one of restraint, legal clarity, and constitutional integrity, an effort to project stability amid a storm of speculation and growing continental solidarity. Whether Ramaphosa's measured approach will calm Malema supporters or further fuel political pressure on his presidency remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is that the intersection of law, politics, and Pan-African identity has rarely been more explosive in post-apartheid South Africa.